even a step further and give another example from cinema which makes this clear. In the Hollywood director, who was, of course, an immigrant from Germany, Ernst Lubitsch, in his film Ninotchka, there is a wonderful joke mentioned there. The hero of the film visits a cafeteria and orders coffee, but he says, "Coffee without cream, please." And the waiter answers, "Sorry, I cannot give you coffee without cream because we run out of cream. But we have milk, so I can only give you coffee without milk." Now, you see the paradox. We have the same, in any case, the guest will get, we have a cup of pure black coffee. But if you order just plain coffee, this can be coffee, plain coffee, this can be coffee without cream, and this can be coffee without milk. It's physically the same, but in its symbolic impact, it's not the same. How? Why not? Let me give you a political example. The first step of feminism is always like, my coffee is coffee without milk. In the sense of, in a traditional society, a woman who is trained to identify with her traditional position in a patriarchal society, a woman simply accepts her position. It's natural for me to work at home, to obey husband, and so on, to be a good wife. Feminism begins when you say, I don't want just to be coffee, I experience my position as coffee without milk. That is to say, there is something which I should have, would like to have, but is not there. And the difference between multiple versions of feminism is how do you define this dimension that is missing? For predominant American Me Too feminism, unfortunately, what the woman is missing is identified in typically upper middle class term. More manager positions, less violations of women's rights, and so on. In Korea, I noticed what women were demanding was much more deeply located in everyday life. Something unimaginable in the United States happened. Women protested for multiple forms of being abused by men. There were big demonstrations against this horrible fashion of men displaying on the web naked photos of their girlfriends, and so on and so on. So again, more radical feminists say, no, we are not women without milk, without legal equality, we want more. We are women without cream. Cream means actual social power, responsibility, better jobs, and so on and so on. And this is what today's feminism, conflicts in feminism are about. They are about the struggle of what women are without today. You, as a feminist, again, feel deprived of things. But what are you deprived of? It's not enough legal equality. You want social power and so on. You want much more. In this sense, we can change the past. The past remains the same. Women were exploited, all that stuff. But what the women were deprived of, so what they demand now, this is open to interpretation. The general lesson just to conclude, is that the limit, I think, of scientific determinism is that it gets involved in what philosophers call pragmatic contradiction, which means at the level of the object that you analyze, you as a scientist can say, we don't have free will, we are totally determined by natural laws and so on. But scientists argue with arguments for that. They try to convince each other, which means that although they claim there is no free will, in their very scientific debate, they act as if they are free beings. If you are dealing with a person without freedom, you wouldn't argue with that person. Because argumentation means, I think you are free to decide, you listen to arguments, and I will try to convince you. So this is a good philosophical point against natural determinism. Yes, you may be right at the level of content. You give a correct description of our biological reality. But the way we do it implies freedom. You act as free beings. Here, again, even the hardest science displays in how it proceeds freedom.